All right, all right. That's me turning my social media stuff down like I promised I would. So, good evening, everybody that is tapping in to our COVID conversation. We are live here with, good Lord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Um, good, a whole bunch of folks. And this conversation that we're having tonight is going to be super dope. I'm very excited because it is going to be straight from the mouths of our youth and young adults surrounding back to school, back to COVID, and how COVID has impacted them. So one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to introduce ourselves. But before we do, let me just say my name is Tony McNeil. Most of y'all already know me. I am a community organizer with Faith in the Valley here in the San Joaquin County. And we are in the business of educating folks in regard to COVID and just making sure that folks have access to resources and information. Can't tell you what to choose. Don't want to tell you what to choose. I just want to give you the information and the knowledge so that you can make your own informed decisions and choices. I am privileged to have Mary Davis, who is going to be helping me co-facilitate this conversation with these beautiful young folks from Public Health Advocates. So, Mary, can you please come off of mute and introduce yourself? We're not going to do our icebreaker yet. Just introduce yourself.
All right, all right. Hello, everyone. Mary Davis here from Public Health Advocates. I am an outreach specialist working on the COVID flu grant with the REACH campaign. So it's a pleasure to be here tonight with you guys.
So we have some young adults and we got some young folks with us, and I am so excited, like I said, to have them here. And so we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. And before Mary and I even get the privilege of actually tapping in, I can't wait to hear from them about one of our check-in questions. So I am going to pick on Honey. You get the short stick. I'm going to call Honey. And can you introduce yourself and then answer our check-in question? And our check-in question this evening would be: if you could have any superpower in the world, one that is known, one that is just made up by you tonight, fresh from the press, what would it be and why? And then you need to pick somebody to pass it to.
Um, I'm Honey, but my real name is Kiani Logan.
She just got kicked off.
Don't trip. As soon as she comes back, we'll start. We'll pick up with her again. So, is it Tay? Latay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have you go ahead and come on in, and then we'll have Honey come in after you.
My name is Latay. I'm 18. I'm in the 12th grade, and the superpower I will have is time travel, so I can go into the past and in the future to see what it looks like.
You know I ain't leaving that alone. What would you change?
I wouldn't change anything. I just want to look like see how it was.
So you just go back just to experience it?
Yes.
Wow. And you wouldn't change nothing? Girl,
No.
don't let me have a superpower to go back and change in time and go forward. I'd be changing all kind of stuff. Okay, so Latay, I'm gonna have you pick somebody.
Kiki. Sorry, it I don't know what happened.
Can you guys
but
hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm Kiki. I'm 17, and I'm a senior. And if I could have any superpower, it would probably be, I don't know, like super smartness or something like that. So I can like, get into any college that I want. I don't know.
Is it that mouse or that is super smart that is always trying to like control the world?
That's exactly who I was thinking of. Pinky and the Brain. Yes. We're gonna take over the world. That was a good one, Kiki.
Ah, all right. Kiara, pass it to somebody.
I'll pass it to Anaya.
Hey, my name's Anaya. I'm 16. I'm in the 11th grade, and a superpower I would pick is I don't know. I would probably do time travel as well, just to like go back in time and like relive some things.
Okay. We're gonna put on that big girl voice today. That one that y'all be talking in when y'all in the hallways at school. I want to hear that one.
Right, to say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
That's a good one, Nye. Who you want to call on?
I can't read any of these names. Go, Kiani.
My name is Kiani. I'm 16 and I'm in 11th grade. My superpower would be teleportation, just to go places faster.
Wow, I like that. I really like that. I love driving. That's a part of like, my tapping out process. But there are some places that I would want to just like I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Greece, in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there, not to climb the stairs. So I teleport from the bottom all the way up to the top, so I don't have to climb the stairs. Where they was on that mule, taking them up there and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I think I'm too big to be on the back of a mule, and he might collapse if he was trying to carry
You
me.
not. Don't do that.
So I might not make it. Anyway, so that's sweet. I appreciate that, honey. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna pray for teleportation powers. Okay, who's next? Who we picking next?
Zai.
Oh. Hi, y'all. My name is Zaya Saisana, and I'm a third year at Sac State. And my major is interior architecture, but for my profession, I do want to become an elementary school teacher.
What?
And yeah, I know they don't really go hand. They can go hand in hand, but at the same time, they really don't. But I've wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a kid, so that's what
I
I'm
am
gonna
interested.
become, and I'm
I
determined to
love
become that.
it. I
And
love, love,
then,
love it.
thank you. And if I had a superpower, I would want to be able to manipulate space and time. So by that, I mean more so like, okay, I can either freeze time or speed it up. Or if I'm able to manipulate time and space, I can create my own portal and just kind of like enjoy my own little space for a bit and just get away from everybody else because it's very important and necessary. So, yeah.
Y'all giving me all kind of crazy ideas. Like, somebody really just do something to just vex my soul and I could freeze time and then, like take some clippers and just shave the middle of their hair, and stuff and show up and do stuff so that yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in a very facetious kind of a space. So
You would definitely take advantage of that one, Elder Tony.
They
Definitely.
wouldn't
That was a
even
good one,
know.
Jay.
see, they would
They
have no
wouldn't
clue.
know.
I like that. Okay, Zaya,
Mhm.
who you picking?
Honey,
Honey
Oh,
she's
honey
win.
went. We have Manaya and David.
Mm-hmm.
Honey already finished? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. You said Manaya or Tavid?
Mm-hmm.
Tavid then.
Okay. Hello. I'm Tavid, and I am 12, and I'm in 7th grade. If I had a superpower, uh, it would to be to fly. Uh, one because could get some really good views from up there, and also I'd be able to travel pretty much wherever I wanted to at any time. So that'd be my superpower. And
That's
Mina, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us, Manaya. It's so we are currently doing introductions, and we ask that you guys share your name, age, and grade level. And also, as an icebreaker, we're asking if you could choose a superpower, what superpower would it be?
All right. Thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Manaya. That's 3 syllables, 6 letters. Um, I am currently going to San Joaquin Delta College. I'm a junior. I will be transferring back to Maine University, and then after that, possibly pursuing grad school. If I have to have a superpower, it's going to sound a little basic, but I would choose to be invisible. And that's because I have incredible anxiety and I don't like being around people in public. So I could just fade in, I could quite literally fade into the background. Also, if I want to go to a concert for free, nobody will know I'm there. Late night trip to 7-Eleven, nobody will know.
Trip to Paris? No one will know.
No one will know.
Good one.
Shaving somebody's head. Okay.
We could barely hear you, Elder Tony.
Really? Let me see. I done shifted from one thing to another, and I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
That helped?
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Really? I'm using gaming earphones, which I don't know nothing about, right? They came with the computer, and it's the first time I'm ever using them for people that are watching. So I feel like I look stupid. Um, yeah. But anyway, and they have this thingy, and I guess that's what I'm talking through now. Yeah, we're gonna see.
That's your microphone. Extended microphone.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, Mary, why don't you go next?
Oh, my superpower would definitely be teleporting. Honey, you hit it right on the nail with that one. I want to be able to disappear and appear anywhere I'd like to in the world. So
Mm.
yeah, that would definitely be my choice of a superpower. What about yours, Elder Tony?
Yeah. My superpower, I think that I would be able to detect and know when someone is being truthful or lying.
A human
Um,
lie detector.
So, yeah, I would be able to like I don't want to read minds, but like I don't know, like you come around and you just turn like, a ugly shade of like, olive
Green.
green or something, if you lying or just, you just something. But yeah. So, okay. Tonight we're coming together in order to talk about COVID, and we want to talk about how COVID has impacted you all as students. And so um, I have a video that I'm going to share that I want you guys to take a look at in order to kind of kick us off. But I want to make sure that my earphones and stuff don't mess up my ability to actually show it. Okay, so I'm going to cue this up. And you guys let me know if you have any trouble hearing it, okay?
I'd say 6 months ago that I was pretty much a typical teenager.
I had this like anxiety and stress of like school.
Stress
Can we hear?
between school and extracurricular activities.
My mental health was better than it had been in a long time.
I was pretty happy most of the time.
I was just waiting to hear back from colleges, very excited. But, you know,
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The coronavirus is a pandemic.
Many schools around the world, as you know, have shut down.
It's going to have a huge impact.
Right now, with the coronavirus and quarantine and everything, I'd say I've kind of retreated to a more isolated version of myself.
I definitely feel a little more frustrated and sad.
You know, you start to worry about your future and you start to worry about, am I ever going to see my friends again?
You know, I'd say especially in the month right before the virus, I was really branching out at my new school and making connections, but I do feel as if I've fallen back.
Just really not knowing how things are going to turn out and just rethinking your future and your life. And it really took a toll on me.
What's been worrying me the most during the pandemic has been getting sick or my family members getting sick.
I'm very, I guess, concerned about being a carrier of the virus or bringing it home or spreading it between people by going out.
When you're isolated by yourself, you're really just alone with your thoughts.
I've never said this before, but I miss school. I'm worried that it's just going to extend longer and longer, the closure.
I definitely know a lot of people who are struggling with depression and anxiety.
Especially, I think, for transgender people, I've been hearing from my friends, you know, looking at your own body image in like a camera or listening to your voice, especially for people that haven't made transitions yet, is very dysphoria producing.
I do have some friends that suffer from some mental health issues, and they do seem a lot more down now because of the virus.
I also have a friend who has some family troubles, and I feel like her stress has been amplified now that, like, with quarantine and stuff like that, not being able to see her also makes it worse because we can't really talk about it, and I can't really comfort her the way I would be able to if we see each other face to face.
I do think that it's possible that technology does play a role in the fact that my generation is more likely to suffer from mental health issues.
My, I guess, 15 years old and younger self was very much influenced by social media and seeing people live their perfect lives.
I feel like sometimes that might make people seem like, oh, that person has like a wonderful life.
I think social media can absolutely help build connections between kids.
I constantly message friends, I see their posts, I like their posts. I like to keep up with what they're doing, especially now in a time where I'm not with them every day like I would be in school.
I have family members from other countries, so it's helpful to talk to them.
Technology is just evolving in our day-to-day lives now, you know, Zoom and social media, and I'm very grateful for that.
I would tell a person younger than me who's struggling with a mental health issue like anxiety that even if it feels safer to keep to yourself, to ask for help.
Take a little break off of social media because it does have a lot of sensitive content on there.
This isn't the end of the world. You're going to get through this.
Even creating a vision board of what you want to do 5 years from now, you know, will really motivate you to think more about the future and think more about the possibilities in the future.
I think that the best way to go through anything is to talk it through and just, you know, it's always better when you have someone's hand to hold.
So I think the first thing that I would want to know is, after watching that video, can you guys relate to anything that you heard on that video? And if so, what and how? Just come on off of mute. Manaya, can you hear me? I've seen you nod your head, and so can you come off of mute and tell us what you related to and why?
Um, I would say the idea of missing in-person school, because when COVID hit, we were still in person for a few days. We started wearing masks, and there was a weird sense of trying to be certain about something. But then we went completely remote, and the one word we kept hearing over and over was everything's going to be done on Zoom, Zoom this, Zoom that, Zoom tests, Zoom meetings. And after a while, it didn't really feel like we were learning anything. School kind of became turn everything in before 11:59 p.m. to everybody that's used Canvas. School became, figure out how to keep your camera on, but keep it off, take the notes, go about your day. It didn't feel like we were getting anything done. It was a lot of going through the motions, while simultaneously being sitting ducks to a virus that nobody had seen coming.
Oh, wow.
So
What
do you
about
feel like
others?
that kind of burnt you out on your Zoom?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you feel like it burnt you out using Zoom?
It didn't so much burn me out. Well, it did, but it didn't. It just didn't feel like it was worth it. So I wouldn't say burnt out is not the right term, because burnt out implies that it can be reignited again. I wanted to stop altogether. Oh no, it was bad.
Oh.
What about others of you? So was there anything that just stood out to you from the video that we just showed? Y'all gonna be one of them kind of groups for me, huh?
Honey, Anaya, Late, I know you guys can all relate, especially during sports. How did it feel not being able to see your teammates, not being able to see your friends?
It was hard because I don't know. I really like my friends. So I like seeing them and talking to them a lot, and not being able to do that was kind of hard. And having to do it on FaceTime a lot, it was kind of different.
How do you feel like you were dealing with classes going virtual? Dealing with the Zoom, how do you feel like you were handling that?
I didn't really like it. It was difficult waking up early to go on a computer for like an hour.
She said for like an hour. Yeah, I want to hear from all of y'all on that. So I'm just gonna popcorn around. David, school on Zoom. Tell us about that and your experience.
It wasn't that I didn't like it. It was cool being at home, not having to get up, get dressed, go outside, but I'm a very social person, so I like the attention, talking, and it felt like I couldn't get any of that on Zoom. It was like you're assigned to this, go into your breakout room, go do this, yada yada yada, and then came back, turned it in. It also didn't feel good not being able to see my friends, and also me like playing sports. It stopped me from playing football, so wasn't active. And I think that I would have enjoyed it a lot more if they would have allowed football, but gotta stay quarantined.
So if I can ask of you, Tavi, what were activities that you were participating in before COVID, like that stopped?
One, sports, yeah.
So was it just football? I think that I'm trying to get a sense of, when you say sports, are you just saying football, or were there other sports related activities that you were involved in throughout the year?
It was like mostly sports because I wasn't like liked in like my other grades. Like I wasn't like liked at all, so I didn't really have a lot of friends or nobody liked me. So in football, it was like a place to like kick back, hang out with some friends, practice, and then after, but when our parents were coming, just chill, talk, hang out. That's pretty much it. The only like time I got to spend with friends. So being in quarantine took that away and made me very sad and big now back in school. I think that I still have to get used to being back in school, like coming back to the same school classes every single day, um, and not being at home on the computer or electronic.
Mm. So, what about others? Anaya, what do you feel that was lost when the pandemic hit, that you didn't or you weren't able to access, because we were quarantined?
I lost a lot of what's that word? I had no motivation for anything because once we went on quarantine, I was in the middle of like doing volleyball conditionings and going to like cheer practices here and there. And eventually I had to stop doing all that, and sports was my motivation for everything. Like I go to school, get my grades up so that I can continue to be in sports. So once I lost access to playing sports, it kind of made me not want to like focus on school, and then having to wake up and get on a computer in my like in the comfort of my own bed, it just was like, should I just do my work or go to sleep? So now that we're like back into school, it's easier because I get to talk to my friends. On Zoom, you didn't have passing periods to be with your friends and like talk about what happened in the last period and like let go of something. Now now is better that you have that. But in Zoom, it's like you can talk to your friends if you call them, if you text them. But if it was none of that, then there was no kind of connection between your friends. So it definitely caused a break between a couple friendships because I didn't have the access to always keep in touch with them. But I would say that it's definitely better now because I'm able to continue to be in sports. I'm able to go and be better in my like schooling and my grades and my work.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. And I definitely can understand and relate to that. And I'm listening very much so to you all's language in regard to, sad, lost your motivation, different things like that. Mary, if you can, don't let me forget to bring that back up again, because that points to something, but I don't want to name it right now.
May I go as
Kiara.
well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kiara, I was going to call you next.
Okay. Yeah, for me, but I don't want to get like depressing or anything, but at the beginning of COVID, I actually lost one of my friends to suicide. And usually when stuff like that happens, you'll be able to like go to school and have your friends, comfort you and all that. That was the first time me dealing with the death. I had to deal with it on my own on my own. And it was hard. And because of that, and because of, Zoom and not being able to see your friends, like my mental health was like, felt like it was like deteriorating right beneath me. And me being like a 3-sport varsity athlete, like, and also not having sports, I also lost motivation for sports as well. I lost motivation for school, sports, all of that. And the fact that it was all just like being ripped away from me, it was really upsetting because sports and going to school, period, is really like an outlet for some of us. Even if your mom like pissed you off one day, like school and being with your friends is like just like a little getaway for a little while. And not having that was like, it was really like upsetting. So I'm glad that now that things are starting to open back up, I'm doing my sports again. I'm getting my mental health back to where it belongs, because I don't think any of us want to be back to that place, that mental state that we were during COVID.
Yeah, no, that was brutal.
It was.
Ditto.
Kiki, tell me again how old you are.
I just turned 17 in October. I'm a senior.
You're a senior, okay. Mm-hmm. And what sports do you play?
I do track, tennis, and cross country.
Nice. So very active.
And everybody here seems like they were active. Is that true? Is everybody in here active or was active prior to the pandemic, some way, shape, or form?
Active in the sense that we all played a sport.
Or no, because even for you, Manaya, what activities were you a part of that were disrupted?
I am a music major. So I was in a lot of large ensembles. Right when COVID hit, we were supposed to do this big cabaret, and I had a bunch of solos, but then
Oh wow.
didn't get to do any of it.
Wow. So now, so Manaya, I was a music major. One of my majors is music. So one of the degrees that I have is in music, in fine arts. And so that's an entire community all in itself.
Yep.
So it may seem like, so how David, you played football, and football, that was your team, that was your sense of, community. And Kiara with track and the different things you were doing, that's your sense of community. With the music department, that's our sense of community. So it's really, it really has the same sense and feel, that now your community and your place of belonging has been absolutely gutted and disrupted.
I'm confused. Is that a statement? Are you asking me?
No, it's a statement. It's not
Okay.
even a question. And so unless anybody just disagrees with that completely. Honey, were there any activities that you were a part of that were disrupted?
Yeah, my volleyball season or the practice got canceled quite a little early, and it was kind of bad. I don't know. I was really bored most of the time. Didn't have anything to do.
So there was something that Kiara was saying that made me, and before I do anything, Zaya, I see you come off of me. Did you want to share? Am I saying your name right, Zaya? Is it Zaya or Zaya?
It's Zaya.
Okay, go ahead, babe.
Sorry, can y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
I was just saying that I was a track athlete in high school, but then I did pick up. I've been doing Muay Thai on and off since I was a kid, and I started back again in college, but then I had to stop because it was kind of much. This was even before COVID. I just on and off with Muay Thai. For those of you that don't know, it's Thai kickboxing. And what I found is that sports are a really good outlet to use, especially during these times of COVID, because it helps relieve stress and pick you back up and feel motivated a lot. And I just wanted to put that little input, but I think I probably got more to say on what you're finna approach if it's what I'm thinking.
Well,
your phone is kind of cutting out, babe. I think the reception is just a little bad in that area.
No, you're good. You're good. And actually, I was able to kind of pick out what it was that you were saying, and so I didn't want to disrupt you while you were flowing, and I don't want you to allow that to stop you from communicating. If it gets too bad, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Kiara, you were saying something, and I jotted down a note that I wanted to ask for you all. Are any of you guys experiencing any anxiety or anxiousness that we are going to go back into a state of shutdown? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Like, do you mean, are we like anxious that it might get shut down again?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Like there's always that like that thing of doubt in the back of my mind, or like that anxiousness of, I don't want to go back to that place that I was at, because it was like a really bad. I feel like it was a really bad place for all of us. So I don't really want to go back to that place where I'm just alone all the time. I'm a very social person, so being around people is like what makes me like thrive. So thinking about like that happening again, it gets me very anxious.
Oh no, you're totally right about that.
Yeah, I have something to add in. I was gonna say, even with the Omicron variant, me here in quarantine, I started to freak out. Like I didn't want to repeat what happened last year, going through the online school, and then everything's being shut down, sports, school, pretty much everything, and finding out that it could become worse. Just knowing that having to go into quarantine and you're going to be stuck at home is just terrible. It still affects me to this day. Sometimes I don't even want to get out of bed, or I'm just terrified.
Wow. Anyone else who have any thoughts that they want to share on that?
What about you, Latte? You've been pretty quiet, especially being a senior. Are you nervous that we could possibly go back to quarantine or shutting down?
Yeah, I feel like we could go back due to the new virus, like you said, like due to the new virus coming out. I feel like we're gonna go back into quarantine and have to like graduate online and stuff.
I know, because for those seniors that went through their graduation virtually or through a drive-through, it was heartbreaking for them.
So yeah, this is rough, and I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate your transparency. It means a lot to me, because I didn't, you know how you know, but like I said, I wanted to hear from you all, and you can't know till you know. I can feel y'all. I literally feel y'all. So COVID kicked butt. And the pandemic and all of that, it really did some serious damage. So what I want to do is I want to now ask, so let's talk about, before we talk about the vaccine, let's talk about the going back to school. I'll get to the mask in a minute. So going back to the school, and everybody is now, school was shut down and it's a bummer and all of that, and now you guys get to go back to school. What was that experience like? Anaya, it's time to go back. Where you hanging out? What you thinking?
When I first went back to school, like the first, like I'd say first, second period, it was like awkward because nobody really knew where they stood. It was like a little awkward for some people because they didn't know like who was still okay with some people, like because we didn't know who was in touch with others. But by like the middle end of the day, everybody was just like, man, get over it. Like we haven't seen each other for a while, so it was just kind of like a be cool, be cordial type of situation.
Yeah, I like that. So there's anxiety, not uncertainty, but then you guys had to push through that because you guys were finally together again. Zaya, what about you? It's time to go back to school. What in person? What were you thinking and feeling?
So with my school specifically, since I'm in college, the only way you can go back in person is if you're vaccinated. And I don't feel safe about getting the vaccine, so that's actually interrupting my studies, because certain classes I have to take, I can only take in person. And then that's how they're trying to draw more people back to the campus because of that. It's like, oh, well, we got in-person classes and online, but then it's like, but you can only come on campus if you're vaccinated, even if you get tested twice a week. The only exemptions you get is either religion or medical reasons, and then there's no other exception. So then it's kind of putting my degree on hold and pushing back when I'm going to graduate further, like along the lines instead of within the next 2 years, which is kind of disappointing. And it's also a stressful situation just in general, because then even people that are vaccinated, some don't feel comfortable still going back onto the school campus. So we're just trying to get things figured out at this point and kind of keep my head up high, I guess, and keep it pushing.
Man, so you just said a lot, and actually I took note of that because we're going to come back around to that. And when we do come back around, I definitely want to lean more into the vaccine. and just where our thoughts are around that. Let me hear from some others. When you guys had to go back, or when you got to go back to school, what were some of the concerns that you had? What were some of the thoughts that you had? Manaya, where were you hanging out?
She actually made a really good point in talking about not feeling safe even going back to campus because everything was still really up in the air.
Mhm.
And my school, it's basically the same way. You can't go back to in person unless you're vaccinated. And and the weird thing with music-based classes, like large ensembles, especially choral type things, one of the strangest things was having to adjust to, I guess, life with masks. Because I don't know if any of you know this, but it is incredibly difficult to try and sing with a cloth mask. And and with a lot of performance classes, because you can only see this much of somebody's face,
Mm-hmm.
you can't quite read expressions as well. Like they'll be saying all the right things, but I can't really tell is it good, is it bad?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing was campus was kind of empty. Like we were back, but we weren't really back. It still felt like a ghost town.
Wow.
So even with the idea, yes, campus is back open, we can come back. It's not the same.
Yeah. Well, honey, what about you?
It was kind of nerve-wracking, like in the beginning, because I know most people at my school, they don't really like the mask, so they don't wear their mask. And like that, I'm not vaccinated, so it's like I could get COVID, and I don't know, it's just scary. But it's fine now. It got better.
Kiara?
At my school, it was very chaotic. When we first came back, there was like not even that many people at school, just because their parents or everybody was like afraid of just coming back to school, or the parents are afraid that the kid would come back and give it to their parents, which I was afraid of as well. But at the time, I had a class that I needed to be on campus for, a leadership class, so I had no choice but to go back on to campus. And it was really different seeing everybody, and it was different for everybody seeing me. Like I got braces over quarantine, and people were like, I would like smile and be like, oh my gosh, you got braces? Like we haven't seen each other in like forever. That's how long. Like so many changes have been made. And I got my braces off, by the way. If you're like trying to look for them, I don't got that. I don't have them anymore.
Right.
But it was just really a really chaotic time, and but finally getting to see everybody that I saw was only heard voices, or when they never had their camera on, like getting to see them in person. It was cool when it started to settle down a bit, but the thing I'm trying to get at, it was pretty chaotic.
And how were you navigating through the different rules and stuff like that? So because when you said chaotic, that was the first thing I thought of, and so yeah.
The rules, I was following the rules pretty well, but like other people weren't following the rules very well. Like people were so against wearing their masks in class, or wearing their masks, period. Or like we had the whole what they tried to do, what Lodi District tried to do was like use the little border things. They only used those for a cool 2 weeks, threw them things out, never used them again. So I'm pretty sure
Really?
With the little shield things for the
Yeah.
desk, we didn't use those.
That's what I was
That
going to
that
ask.
was
The
a
shields
waste of
that's around the
investment money.
desk.
Exactly. That was a waste of money in my opinion, because they didn't even use them. And then the whole put the seats 6 feet apart, they didn't do that. Our seats was a cool 2 feet apart. I could reach over and touch somebody. Like nobody was really like doing anything that they said they was gonna do. So when I hear chaotic, I was hearing even the district ain't doing like following the rules. Like in my opinion, they really forced us back because they get paid based off of how many kids go to school every day. That's what my thing is. But so yeah, that's what I meant by chaotic.
Well, they can stop underestimating the intelligence of the students that they are there to serve. David, what about you? When she said that at school, the 6 feet apart and stuff, I see, and I seen your facial expression and body language. And so, what was it like going back to school? Was it chaotic? And if so, why and how?
Um, so me being at a new school, this is my first year at my new school. I go to Stockton
Mm-hmm.
Collegiate.
Mm-hmm.
First, this school is hard. Not even gonna lie. The first time I got there, or my first period, um, it was like tension in the air. Like everybody was like,
Mm.
it was like robots. Like everybody was just like
Mm.
still, and it felt so weird. Um, Everybody was like freaking out if somebody would sneeze or like sniff. Like people would be like, "You have COVID. I can't do this. No, I can't be anywhere
Oh
near
my
you."
gosh, yeah.
We did that in the workplace, right, Elder Tony? Any public place we
I'm
were
still
at.
doing it.
Somebody sneeze, they cough, we be looking. It
I
made you
just
nervous, huh?
I forced myself not to look. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tommy.
And then like going to the second period, I saw that people were like spaced out, and it wasn't as much people. Like there wasn't a lot of people on campus. I also think that some of the teachers like were waiting to come back because of COVID, and they were still afraid that the student or somebody else might be a carrier of it. It also was very hard for everybody to start like talking because the generation I grew up in, we're all sucked into our phones, technology, and I don't think a lot of us have like the social skills that different generations may have. We're all used to like texting each other, calling each other, but not actually standing face to face and saying
Wow.
hi or hello. Uh, Even the icebreaker, like starting a question, trying to go into a conversation, everybody was just like, I'm only here for one thing only, to learn, not ready to talk with anybody, but people have started to get a lot more loose now that we're back in school. Um, I think that I'm following the rules. I may pull my mask down a little bit if I'm walking to another class outside or something, but indoors, I'll make sure to keep my mask on. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Like, how they felt when going back to school?
Latte.
And I think Anaya shared. I just wanted to make sure
She
though.
did.
Okay, Latte.
I kind of feel like how he said, like if somebody sneezes, oh, they might have it. Like I was very cautious because I have little siblings at home, so I was like, oh, if you sneeze and then like you sneeze by me, I feel like I'm gonna bring it home with me and like give it to like the younger siblings. So I was very cautious of like who I was around, and I like kept my mask on. And I had at a point in time I had sanitizer and like gloves in my backpack, like just in case. But eventually I stopped using it stuff.
Okay. Have any and you can or can't answer this. So this is one of those like just it's optional. Everything is optional. Has anyone had a personal experience or encounter with COVID? And if you're okay to share, come off of mute.
It was like the first week of school, and it was hard because it was the first week, and then when I had to go back, I had a lot of homework to catch up on, and then it was just hard just to do school at that point because it was the first week when I got it. I had it.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Go ahead, Anaya. Go ahead, Anaya.
My first my mom had it while I was trying to, and it was like towards the beginning middle of school. My mom had got it, and I have a disabled brother, So it was hard to maintain my schooling and my work, but also try to help my grandma to take care of my brother
Mm.
on a hour. I had to check on him every 4 hours, feed him, change him. So it was hard to maintain that. And then the very last week of school, it was finals week. I had got COVID and it was very bad. Like I couldn't sit up. I would like be in pain. My breathing was hard, and I have asthma, so it was like 10 times harder. And I just had to like figure out a way because I would tell some of my teachers about it, and some of them was just like, "Oh, like I understand." They gave me the benefit of the doubt, make up work. But then there's other teachers that were just like, "That has nothing to do with me. You have to figure it out. It's finals." So it was really hard to balance out me being very sick and I can't even roll over and look at the light to getting onto a computer and taking my final exams and my tests with teachers who didn't want to help cooperate with me. But eventually, like, I got it the last week, and finals is like you have 2 classes a day. So I would put more effort into one class than the other. And I just tried my best to at least pass. I didn't pass with grades that I normally would have passed with, but I definitely just made a way to at least pass my classes.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, and I'm really sorry to hear that. That angers me some when it comes to the lack of consideration that you were given in this circumstance and situation. David, you came off of mute. You were going to share something.
I don't know if this would count, but this was like a month ago. This girl was like not feeling so well. She was sneezing, coughing. Of course, her mask was on. But then all of a sudden, like a week later, she like disappeared from school, and we like never saw her again until like a month or two later. We didn't know what was happening, so us being very curious, we asked. Found it out she had COVID. Don't really know if that counts, but
Well, it does count. And I guess for me, my question for you would be, um, you guys had to ask. They didn't let you all know to let your family know that you had been exposed to COVID.
I'm not really sure.
Oh, you'd be sure. Has anyone in any of the other school settings been alerted if they were exposed to COVID in your schools?
Not that I remember. Because this is still kind of new to me. To a lot of people still. But I think they would alert the school. But at the end of the day, she may have not had COVID. She could have just been sick with like a cold or something. But I did.
No, I mean that does count, and I appreciate you sharing that because the others, you've had friends and stuff too that have been exposed to COVID, right? Or have you? I don't want to assume. Has everyone pretty much in this space had someone, a friend or a loved one, that has been exposed to or had COVID?
Actually, last year, one of my friends, he did have COVID, and then like he was just like starting to feel better, and he came back to school when school started. So,
What about others of you? Have you experienced COVID or you had loved ones, that have experienced it? With
So my younger sister had it. So we was out quarantined, but I tested negative. But they was like, "Don't come to school because you go home with her." So I had to stay home for 2 weeks, and then she finally tested negative, and then we were able to come back to school.
and for you, Tay, Was that scary for you? I mean, were you, how did you weather that emotionally, psychologically?
Like it scared me at first because she had asthma, so it's like hard for her to breathe already. But she like made jokes with it. She's like, ah, ha ha ha, I got COVID, you gotta go to school. So I was like, I can't go to school because you're here with me. So it was like a fun experience. Not fun experience, but like it was fun because she like made
Yeah,
fun even though she wasn't feeling well.
yeah.
But it was kind of scary at first because she didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to lay down and stay in bed all day. So at first it was scary. Then it kind of got funny.
Mm, okay. And what about you, honey?
Yeah, I had it. It was, I don't know. I didn't really have a lot of symptoms. I did lose my smell though,
Hmm.
so it was odd. I don't know. I was in my room just trying to smell things and I couldn't. So it was like boring.
And Malaya?
I did have a couple of scares.
Hmm.
The first scare, I had been like really tired for 3 days and I had a headache. So we were thinking that I might have had COVID. Turns out it wasn't COVID. My sleep schedule is just terrible. My second scare, we were actually about to go down to LA for something that we had been asked to do, and I got sick. So they told us that before you come down, you have to have proof of a negative COVID test, and we had to get a rapid test because we had to leave like that same day. The
Hmm.
results came back negative, but it was still relatively frightening because I was
Yeah.
thinking I was gonna let everybody else down if I wasn't there.
Wow. So you guys, I want to take a turn. I want to take a turn, and I want to go into a dialogue here in regard to now we got some mandates here. So we got some mandates about face masks, and now we got mandates about vaccine or what have you. And I really am interested in knowing you guys, as students, where are you guys hanging out with some of these mandates? And so now, right now, there is a state mandate that has been passed by our governor that says that when you are inside, you must wear a mask. Where y'all hanging out with that one?
I Honestly, it's not surprising. When COVID first hit, it was, well, the best thing to do to protect yourself is to wear a mask. And now, with the virus having progressed as far as it has, the governor's now saying, oh, well, you now have to wear a mask. It's okay. We have to keep doing the thing that we've been doing for the past year. I'm personally not shocked, and I'm not bothered by it. What does shock me is the fact that people are still having a fit over a face mask. You're having a fit over a piece of cloth to go over your mouth and nose. Oh no, it's the end of the world.
Oh my gosh, look at this. As Honey plays with her mask. For real, y'all. I'm like, what do you think of the demonstrators and the people that are protesting about having to wear a mask? Like, I really want to hear from you guys about this. Don't make me call on y'all. Y'all, I'm trying to get y'all to voluntarily talk. So I'm gonna start with you, Honey.
For me, I don't really get the whole not wearing the mask thing. I don't know. I feel like we've been doing it too long for you not to wear it. I mean, I don't know. I only get if I don't have a, I only get but like run out of breath if I'm like active. But if I'm like just I don't know walking around, I'm fine with it on.
Anaya.
I also don't understand it because it's been a process for a while. I mean, it could be like tiring sometimes if it was like the summer or something and it was hot and you're already like, heavily breathing. But like it's like now it's winter, you already want to be covered up everywhere because it's freezing outside. But it's really like it's not really that big of a deal because it's just there sometimes like me personally, I'll forget that I have it on. I fell asleep with my mask on before because I just was so used to having it on. So when I see people protesting about it, it just makes me look at them like, what's the problem? It's not that big of a deal. If you don't want
Right.
the mask that's so thick, then you can just get the paper ones that you can dispose of, or you can just change the material, what kind of mask you wear. I don't see why it's such a big deal to some people.
I know we really have options at this point.
Right, a lot. So if I'd have known, I'd have taken stock in Zoom and a mask company. That part. Yeah. David, what are you thinking?
My thing is the people are getting mad at whoever for wearing masks, and then when they get it, they're still mad at the people because they're like, oh, such and such, he gave this to me. Maybe you should have worn a mask. That's all I have to say.
That part. So it's like, okay, you're mad because you got to wear a mask, and now you're mad because you got COVID because somebody that wasn't wearing a mask gave it to you.
At this point, pick a lane.
Right. Tay, mask, no mask. Where you hanging out with that one?
I kind of feel like it's an everyday thing. Like you get dressed, you brush your teeth, and then you put your mask on just to go out. Like some people have masks in their car, so it's like an everyday thing now. So like, but when it gets hot, it'd be like, man, I want to take this mask off. But at the same time, you gotta be like, I don't want to get sick though. So it's like, I don't know. Like in the winter, probably a mask. Like in the summer, it's kind of hot.
So I have two more questions for you. And I don't know if Mary has more questions, but I have two more questions for you that are like swirling around in my head. So the other question, I've heard some of you guys say express some concerns in regard to the vaccine. So let's talk about the vaccine and where you guys are hanging out with that. Are you a pro-vaxxer? Are you an anti-vaxxer? If you're comfortable with it, just kind of share why. We're going to start with Tay because I've seen her body language and facial expression. So Tay.
I'm an anti-vaxxer because I was told like at the because I'm about this, so I was told like they're gonna try to put some type of injection in you, where you like it's gonna be like a barcode, like some type of chip on you, and at the end of the world they're gonna take you to hell, you know. So that's like I don't believe in the vaccine or none of that stuff.
So is that something like the mark of the beast?
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody said VarkTech. I don't know what that is.
Barcode.
A barcode.
What?
That's okay. Okay. Well, Manaya, you're off of mute. Go ahead.
The reaction isn't to the anti-vax, it's more so what people have been perpetuating. Like, I've definitely heard the vaccine is going to inject you with this weird chip and it's going to mark you because this is a sign of the apocalypse. And it's very much like the extremist religious fanatics, I'm going to say. Me personally, I'm not anti-vax, but there are certain vaccines I don't think are necessary. You know, I'm a firm believer that there are some childhood diseases, you catch it once, you kick it, you move on. Some things I think you should get vaccinated for. I don't think that there needs to be a shot for every single thing. I think that is a little excessive. You know, I honestly wasn't going to get the COVID vaccine, but then when I saw how this thing was progressing and I saw how serious it was getting, and knowing that the work that I do won't allow me to continue if I don't do it, I just had to suck it up and get the job.
So
I'm glad I did.
So one of the what I want to make sure that I state, somebody had put a comment in somebody had put something in the comment in the chat that led to an inappropriate site, and so I didn't want you guys to think that I was being biased, you know, and not allowing them to have, you know, an input or share. But I wanted to make sure that I removed it so that no one else had access to that link because it was inappropriate. So, and I blocked the person as well. All right. So now to continue and keep it moving forward. Who else? Anaya, what do you think? Thoughts on around the vaccine?
Personally, in the beginning, nobody in my family, like including my mom, my grandma, my aunts, none of them believed in it, and they didn't go for it because we used to get allergy shots, and then my brother had an allergic reaction, and then I got a flu shot, and then I got the flu a week later, and then I had the flu virus. So being that we got all these things that were supposed to help prevent or lessen your chances of getting these things, they didn't want it. But then we found out I had been quote unquote exposed to COVID at school the day of I had cheer tryouts, and the principal called me and told me that I was exposed to COVID a week ago, and because they had just gotten the information, I couldn't try out for cheer unless I got vaccinated and had proof that I was COVID free. So when that happened, I was rushed to like go get a rapid test, and then right after that, my my coach let me get on the team just because she knew me, and I got vaccinated right after that just because the only way for you not to be sent home or have to go in quarantine at our school is if you're vaccinated. So I got vaccinated just so that this wouldn't happen again. And then my mom had got vaccinated because my brother needed surgery, so he needed to be vaccinated. And so then my grandma, her job won't allow her to continue working without being vaccinated. So eventually, like things just kept happening that we needed to be vaccinated for. We still like are skeptical about it. Like my mom would forget something, and my grandma's like that. It's the vaccine. Like you're losing your memory because of the vaccine. And like I lost my smell when I got COVID, and my grandma was like, "You're not gonna get it back now that you have that now that you got vaccine." So we'll like crack jokes about it. We still don't trust it all the way. My family won't get it. Like my cousins and stuff, they won't get it. My aunt doesn't trust it. But I feel like it'll grow on her, and then we'll just keep joking about it.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing. And yeah, a lot of jobs and stuff are now putting policy into place, requiring folks to actually get the vaccine, have the vaccination. Um, Honey, did you share? I think you did.
Not yet. I don't
Oh,
really
okay.
have an opinion. I don't know. I'm not vaccinated, but if I do get vaccinated, then I get vaccinated. It's not really like I don't know. It doesn't matter to me as much.
So Honey's thing is she does want to get vaccinated, mainly because of volleyball. She really wanted to, but Honey was actually diagnosed with Kawasaki disease at the age of 3. And that is a disease that's very similar to the myocarditis disease. That could be one of the side effects from getting the vaccine. So I have held off on getting Honey vaccinated until she is cleared through her cardiologist.
Mhm. Right. Which definitely I mean and that's wise. I could absolutely understand that. The wisdom in that. Um yeah, absolutely. And the research that has to then be taking place, surrounding that. David, are you pro-vax? Are you a pro-vaxxer? Or are you an anti-vaxxer? And why? Either way.
I'm pro. When I first heard of the vaccine, I was like, okay, a vaccine. But I didn't know how dangerous COVID would get, so it wasn't like something that was on the top of my mind. Later in time, when COVID got more extreme, I was like, probably best that I get it. Mainly for me because I want to be safe, but also I don't want my friends to get sick or any loved ones around me or just in general. I am vaccinated, and feels kind of good knowing that I'm vaccinated and I'm not like invincible from COVID, but I have a higher up. I'm higher up from getting sick. But I do understand why some people are afraid of getting vaccine.
Mhm.
when I got the vaccine, I was a little typical. Like, what if they put something in this? I was like a little afraid, but over time, I just stuck with it. And that's been a reason.
So David, you can come off mute again. So you're 12, and you're in the 7th grade, and so did your mom have anything to do with your decision? Did she influence you? I mean, where did you come up with the decision to be vaccinated?
It's actually funny. I get people ask me like, did your mom like tell you to get vaccinated, or did your parent tell you to get vaccinated? Actually, no. I was 100% in it myself. I was like, probably should get vaccinated. Not for a huge reason, just because I thought it'd be the best thing to do. Um, but I still do see people like with signs like, "Oh, I don't want oh, this may not have to do with me," but I see people with signs like saying, "Oh, I don't want my kids don't want to go to school because they don't want the vaccine."
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking most of the time it's the parents saying that, and I'm thinking the kids don't know what's happening. It's just the parents in that saying, "Oh, I don't want my kid," but inside they might want that, or behind screens they might want that, but in public it's saying, "Oh, my kid has decided not to get the vaccine." And I'm sure if you were to ask the kid, "Do you want the vaccine?" they'll probably be like, "What is the vaccine? I didn't say anything about it. I didn't even know it was a thing." I think a lot of parents like hide it from their kids, like shelter it, because they don't want something to happen to them, or they don't want anything to happen to their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're referring to then the younger children that don't necessarily have a say so at all, in it. How did you then learn about the vaccine? How did you do any type of research in order to even learn about it and understand it?
To be fully honest, I didn't do any research on it. I didn't do like heavy research, but I looked it up and see if there's anything in it that I could be a little worried about. Nothing that I found was bad. I was just worried that I was gonna like die or something, like anxiety kicking in, like this is the end of the world. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Wow. Mary, I'm gonna kick it to you.
Well, you asked all the questions that I wanted to ask. But my next one to you guys, how does it feel being back at school now? Like, you guys are back at school, you're with your friends again, you're able to do sports. How is that for you? You guys excited?
I think it's kind of going back to how it used to be, like back in my freshman year. The only thing that's changed is like just the mask and stuff. The teaching went back to how it used to be and stuff. The classrooms are the same.
When you say it's kind of going back to how it used to be, you mean pre-COVID?
Yeah.
How about you, Manaya, for college? How is it? Were you excited?
Can you repeat, because my mic cut out for a second?
I'm just wondering, how does it feel now, right now in this present time, being back in school, being back around your friends, being able to go to your theater classes again? How does it feel? Are you excited?
I suppose it's not that there's not excitement, but at the same time, it still doesn't feel like we're back to normal because we still have to wear masks, and that's definitely a frustrating aspect. Like, granted, I can suck it up and wear a mask, but trying to sing with a mask is actually pretty difficult.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
And do you think that we're going to get back to normal?
No, I absolutely don't.
Mm.
I think that there was too much that was unearthed for us to go back to normal. I think that we're headed towards a different sense of normal.
A new day.
Yeah.
What about
Honey?
you, Latae? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. That's what I was going to ask others. Latae?
It's kind of like when I came back, I was like, I know who like I could actually go and talk to and I keep conversation with, and then I know who I can just joke around with. You kind of like during quarantine, kind of figure out who your friends are, and then like you can come back and be like, oh, she wasn't really my friend. Like she didn't really check up on me when I was going through stuff. So you kind of like figure out who your friends are.
So you know what? You touched on something. You said it, and I want to ask you guys: do you feel like you had anyone to talk to when you were going through your quarantine days? When you were by yourselves, you didn't have your friends. Do you feel like you had someone that you can trust to talk to about some of the things that you were dealing with?
I think about the volleyball team because they could like talk to me back, and then like they'll do like little jokes with me. So like
Who did you say, Latae?
My volleyball team.
Your volley. So you guys still kept in contact during quarantine?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Do you feel like you had someone that you can trust to talk to about some of the emotions you were feeling, some of the things you were going through?
Yeah, I would talk to my volleyball team as well. But I wouldn't share everything. Some things were more kept private that I would just have on my own. So it's, I don't know, half and half.
So when you had to keep those things private, do you feel like it affected your, the way you felt, affected your day-to-day life?
Yeah, a little bit. It was different. It wasn't the same.
As far as what? What made it different, honey?
It was like, I don't know. Like, usually in school, I would just talk normal, but online, it was like, oh, should I say this? What if they don't respond? Something like that.
Tavid, what about you? Because I know you touched a lot on not being able to socialize with your football team, not being able to go out and talk to some of the friends that you did have over there. Do you feel like you had somebody that you can go to and you could talk to during your quarantine days?
No, not at all. My mom, but this is really the only person. I'm an only child, so I have no siblings to like talk to or decompress with. I did have one of my football teammates' numbers, but I'd check in with him like in and out, be like, "Hey, what's up? How's life going?" Wasn't really like, "Did you hear about this?" or "Has anybody in your family got COVID?" It was nothing like anything about COVID.
So how'd you deal with that? How did you deal with those emotions? What was your outlet?
I started to, I think I got like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I got like sucked into the internet more, like finding a way to like decompress it on the internet, not finding anything. I tried routines, see if that would make me feel better. I didn't get like really depressed, but I was like starting to get there, a little bit depressed, and it's still like I still deal with it a little bit to this day.
Mm-hmm. How do you handle it when you do have these? Now that we're out of quarantine, you kind of can go and talk to some of your friends again. How do you handle your depression or your sad days when you do go through it?
I do talk to my friends. Me being nice and kind, has led me to having friends that I could trust and will actually listen to me.
Nice. Yeah.
So sometimes I decompress, and then sometimes they decompress with me. That helps quite a bit.
Good. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Tavid. Nai, what about you?
During quarantine, I wouldn't say I didn't have anyone, but it's like certain people you tell certain things to and some things you don't tell anyone to. So when I had the things where I didn't think it was right to tell certain things to, like, you wouldn't want to tell your mom something about your mental health because then you think she's going to be worried about you and you don't want her to be stressed out. So then you also you want to tell your friends things, but then like Kiani said, you don't know if they're going to respond, or like if you're texting, you don't know how they're going to take it. And then saying it over the phone is like not the same. So there was like some things where I just like kept to myself, and when I would do different things around the house to keep my mind off of it. But there's always like that one time like you're in your thoughts, and like it does still take a toll on me like to this day now that we're out of like quarantine and everything. But like now that we're at school, like I do have friends that I can genuinely trust and I can like talk to things like different things about. So like that's the better part of it. But in quarantine, it was definitely hard because you never knew what you could say to who, because you also in quarantine, you didn't talk to them every day. So it's like, you don't know what they're going through, what they're keeping inside of them. And you don't want to bring your problems to them if they're going through something 10 times worse, but they're keeping it to themselves.
So what was your way of dealing with some of the sadness or your depression? What was your way? What was your outlet?
Typically, I just started to do different like arts and craft projects. Like to always keep my mind off something, I would just do that. Or I would just like, bother my friends or something to just keep my mind active and just out of my own head, really.
Yeah. Found you different hobbies.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Manaya, what about you?
How did COVID affect me overall, or?
Well, the new question is, do you feel like you had anyone to talk to during your quarantine days? Especially about some of the emotions you were feeling, whether they were good or bad?
For a while, no. And that's more so because I don't like to talk about my issues. My version of dealing with it is either suppressing it or pretending it's not there.
Do you feel like that could hurt in some ways?
It did, and it already has. I would say I'm in a better place now. I definitely do have people that I can talk to. It's one of the hardest things is finding the words, because it's not that I don't know what I'm going through. It's just making and wondering if someone else can understand.
Right.
Because I can sit and explain it all day, but it can go in one ear, out the other.
And
a lot of times,
understanding if someone can feel where you're coming from.
Right. And especially with COVID, I think everyone on this call can agree that we all realize that none of us are okay. And anxiety is a serious problem. Like having to explain anxiety to my mom at times was one of the hardest things, because it's like, I'm scared. What are you scared of? I don't know, but I know that I'm scared. I don't feel stable. I feel panicked. Well, what's making you panic? I don't know. And I don't know why, but it is.
It almost feels like an irrational fear, something you can't really see or put your finger on. Is the thing that makes it irrational, but the anxiety, it's real.
It's real.
Feeling. Yeah.
But at times it can seem irrational. It's like, well, why is this little thing making me anxious? I don't
Mhm.
know, but here we are.
Right. So I do need to wrap us up in this conversation, and I'm glad that we're kind of landing here. There was something that Manaya you just said that really triggered, pulled me back, just forward into conversation. So 2019, things start escalating, and 2020, the world gets shut down. Well, 2019, I think, is when it got shut down, right? And then now 2020, we're just trying to figure it out. So now at the end of the year, I find myself in different spaces, like I was just doing an interview where, I was being asked questions in regard to COVID and the impact for me and stuff. And as a leader in the community, I realized that I haven't had opportunity to decompress. I have not had the opportunity to just talk about it, how it impacted me, because I've been so busy responding to it, and making sure that everyone had the resources, the tools, the information, and all that stuff that they needed. That I never took the time out to really say, ouch, you know what? COVID hurt me. That the effect of it. Um, I hate the fact that I have to remember to have a mask on all the time everywhere I go. Um, I hate the vulnerability of COVID. I feel vulnerable, and I feel vulnerable all the time in ways that I took for granted prior to COVID. Um, going into different places and public settings and stuff, I've had to really, really be very intentional about my health and stuff, and take my health very seriously, and start doing things to take better care of myself in order to strengthen my body, inside and out. But I'm also doing it because my mental health has been crazy. So, Manaya, I don't sleep well. That's due to anxiety. Um, there are things that I have no idea. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I have no idea where we're going. As far as I'm concerned, the way that things are happening now, it's gonna be one virus after the next, and they're just gonna keep building on it. And every year we got Omicron. That sounds like some big scary mega robot monster, And so what's the next thing, that's gonna come? And the next thing, this come from a monkey, this came from a mosquito, this came from a bat, this came from a so, at this point now, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's next. So find someone to talk to if you don't, folks. Have somebody to talk to. Those are resources that we definitely need to make sure are available. And I'm hoping that they're trying to provide them in your schools. Talk to your parents if you can, especially when you're dealing with anxiety, but don't ignore it because it's real. And every time our society makes another rule, another regulation, another mandate, that stuff stirs back up. It's real, and you don't want it to get away from you. You want to stay on top of it now. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to actually join us this evening for this conversation. I really super appreciate it, and your transparency. You guys are some brilliant young folks, all of you. Brilliant, very articulate. Um, don't let nobody ever tell you different. I promise you, you are. And I hope that you guys are able to achieve the things that you have a heart's desire to achieve and have set out to do. So, Mary, is there anything that you wanted to add before we tap out?
I don't. I just want to say thank you to all of our young adults on the call tonight. I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your TikTok videos and your FaceTime calls.
Video games.
Yes, to come share this space with us. Your insight was very much needed. Thank you.
And David, bravo, especially being the youngest person on the platform.
And our only guy.
And our only guy. You held it down for the brothers. Yes.
Let's go.
And also I want to just, thank the parents that gave permission and consent for these young folks that are minors to be in this space today. Faith in the Valley and Public Health Advocates absolutely got the consent from the parents for the youth to actually be here on this live conversation today. And so we wanted to just thank the parents. Thank you so much. And thank you, like I said, Tavid, for being so articulate and courageous to speak up and be so bold. So, yeah. So we're going to give y'all back to the rest of the world. Have a good time this evening, you all. Thanks for tapping in. And thanks for those of you that were watching with us tonight for tapping in. If you have any questions, or if you have any ideas or thoughts that you would like to see lifted up for a COVID conversation, you can reach out to Chris Cannon at CC at Public Health Advocates or phadvocates.org. And then I'm going to drop my email address in the chat, which is simply Tony at Faith in the Valley. And we would love to hear from you if you have any thoughts, any ideas, anything that you want to lift up as a COVID conversation or a topic. And I put Chris's name in the chat as well. Yes, yes, yes.
And Elder
Wonderful.
Tony, I want to say thank you to you for having this space for us to come on and be able to bring on these young adults and the young children to share their feelings on COVID. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you giving us your time as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Look, here come Chris. I'm so done with
You're
Chris.
too late to the party.
Hi, Chris.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes,
You
Chris.
are so late, Chris.
We can hear you.
It's
like we spoke you up.
Just got done like 10. Hold on, I can't hear you. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Lord have mercy. Well, we can. And so, yes, Chris, we're just wrapping up. We're about to tap out right now. You missed an amazing conversation.
Cool.
So I'll make sure I'll send you. Yes, we're live still. And so I'll send you the Zoom link so that you can check it out afterwards. Okay.
All right, cool.
All right. Thanks for tapping in and checking
Thanks
out.
for
checking
popping in on us,
Chris.
Chris.
Okay, you guys. So we'll tap in with you another time. Thanks for joining us this evening. You all have a wonderful evening, and please be safe and take care. All right.
Good night, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
Good night.
again.